channel DevOps Consultancy and Solutions. So far, I have installed Homebrew. I installed Packer on Mac. I created IAM user called Packer underscore test user and assign EC2 full access role to it. I have created the access and secret key for the user Packer underscore test user. So now I will show you how to create an image using the Packer. So in this session, I will cover how to create a simple image first. Then I will show you how to install or provision your own package on the image, which is called the source image, and create your own golden image. In the third part, I will show you how to modify the same script and add the variables into it. Let's get started. All the scripts are available in the Packer repository in the GitHub. I will share the link in the description, so feel free to check or clone if you required. Okay, so let's jump on the Visual Studio where I have all the scripts. So in Packer build script, there are three main blocks. First is the Packer block, which is to define the required plugin that we need to install to run the build. In the second block, which is called the source block, so it is used to define all the details of the base image or the source image that we need to use. So underline base image which we need to use to install to provision. And third is called the build block. So build block basically will tell you will help to define what is the source of the base image that we need to basically run, and to provision all the required packages that we need to install on it, or if any script we need, custom script need to run on the image, that we will define in the build block. So packer build file should have an extension .pkr.scl, right? So this is the Packer block. So because I'm creating the image on the AWS, so I have mentioned the required plugin as the Amazon. So this is a version which is the source of the plugin, which is a github.com/HashiCorp/Amazon. So this is the source. Source will be our, as I said, it will let you know which is the base image that we need to define. So basically when we run the Packer, so Packer build will first create the VM on the AWS, then install all your required packages on it, and then it will create the AMI from that VM, and then destroy or delete or terminate the VM on the AWS, right? So while in this image, I am not in this script, sorry, I am not installing any provisioner like any custom script or any package on top of this. Is just simply it will show you how to create a very simple AMI by your own. So while there is no difference between the AMI provided by the AWS and the AMI generated by this script, it serves as a valuable example to help you to understand how to create and utilize a Packer build effectively, right? So in this source, so the main thing is you need to find out what is the name of the your AMI file. So let's go. I will show you how to find it. It will really helpful if you are creating your own base image. So if I go to the AWS console, so I click on the AMI catalog, it will show you, I will search here the Ubuntu image. So I will copy this AMI name, which is provided by the AWS. So I click on the AMI in the, go to the public images, search here this AMI. So this is the first AMI. So I will click on the AMI to get the details. So this is the AMI name. So this is the AMI name that we need to copy and mention in the source of the AMI. So I just copy here the AMI name. So root device type is EBS and virtualization type is HVM that you can click. verify here, device is EBS and virtualization type is HTTP. So next is basically the owner. So this owner is basically the AWS account ID or the AMI owner. It's not your account ID, it is the ID of the AMI owner. So if I go here, so here we can see the AMI owner of this. So it will just here copy and just paste. So because it's a Ubuntu image, so username will be Ubuntu, right? And in the build block, sorry, in the I forget to mention in the source, you can mention the type, which type of the, as I said, Packer will first create the VM. So whichever when the VM will be created with this image, so that instant type, so it will be t4g.nano and region it will run that image on the EU-west-west one. So yeah, so in the build block, it will, I will just mention the source. So source will be which is the source of the image, so which it need to run basically. So it will mention source, which is the source dot amazon dot amazon hyphen ebs dot ubuntu, right? So this is a very simple packer build. It is just like you can say the clone of the existing AMI which is available, but it really help you to understand how to create and utilize your Packer build file effectively. In order to run this, first is we need to export the access keys and the secret keys that we copied. So I will just export here, and this is the access key and this is the secret key, right? So don't worry if I'm showing you the secret key. As I said earlier also, I will delete the secret key. Use it. So next step is to run the Packer build. So first, in order to run is the first command is to initialize the Packer. So in the initialization, so what will Packer will do? Packer will download all the required plugins which we have mentioned here in the Packer block. So first command is Packer build, Packer init. So if you have just only one script in this directory, you can mention the dot. Otherwise, you can give the command like the file name, right, like this. The reason is if you just give, because I have couple of files, Packer files in this directory, but if I mention here the Packer space init dot, then it will give me an error. It will say that there are multiple, the plugin is duplicated and it give me an error. So just run this command Packer init, right? And next is Packer validate. It will validate your Packer file. So configuration is valid, fine. So Packer validate build. Third command is build AWS hyphen Ubuntu packer.scl. So the execution will start. It will take a couple of seconds, like 40 to 50 seconds to complete it. So meanwhile, I will just pause this video. Yes, guys. So now the AMI has been created. So if we see the logs here, so what it will do, it will just found the AMI or the source AMI. It launched the instance, launch a source instance here in this. Then it install the packages whatever, because there was no package it was required, so it just simply once after launching the instance it's checked nothing was required, so it just stopped the instance and then create the image. So it create the own AMI which I mentioned here, build your own Ubuntu image. So once it is saying the waiting for the AMI, once the AMI has been created and everything, then it delete or terminate the AWS instance and the AMI. So now we will verify where the AMI which has been created. So in order to go here, I will just click on the AMI. So I just close this, I will go to own by me AMIs. So I can see here, this is the AMI which has been created, build your own Ubuntu image. So this is the AMI. So if I click here, this is the account ID, my account ID, and the name is build your own Ubuntu image. So this is the example to show you the very basic AMI, how we can create it. So in the next example, I will show you how to create your own custom AMI. So in this example, I will install the Apache on this base image and create our own golden image, right? So this is the example here. So it is the same file. So I just add it is a Packer block, which is a required plugin, source block, same exactly. So in the build block, so this is the build block where I will just add the provisioner. So in the provisioner, I just define the variable, welcome to the DevOps Consultancy and Solution, and install the Apache. So I'm just copying that variable into the index.html and show you that once the new AMI is created, I will launch the instance from it, and it will help you to see that this new golden image has all the predefined packages and scripts or the files it has. So this script is basically designed to install the Apache on top of the standard AMI by AWS, as I said earlier. So it will provide you a practical example to show you how to enhance your basic AMI with additional software or packages. It will help you and offer you a hand-on approach to configure your server environment using Packer. So in order to run this, so again the same first command is packer init, which is to initialize. This is the file name is file name is aws ubuntu apache 2.packer.scl, right? So second command is packer validate aws ubuntu apache.packer.scl. So it's running fine. So third command is, so I will just increase the size for your reference. Yeah. So Packer build AWS Ubuntu Apache dot packer.scl. Okay. So before I run this command, I will tell you one thing, because this is the same name of the AMI which I built previously. So AWS will give me an error to saying that because the two names is conflicting and then AMI. So what I will do, I will delete the old AMI which I have created. So in order to delete it, the command is not command, the step is basically go to the AMI. First is to deregister the AMI. Sorry, deregister the AMI. I confirm, right? So now it has been removed. So I will go to the snapshots. So in the snapshots, you can see that there is one snapshot owned by me. I will go to the actions and delete the snapshot. So I confirm here, delete, and it will delete the snapshot. So now once I will create the new image with the same name, so AWS will not give me any error. So I will run this build. So again, it will take a couple of minutes. So I will pause this video and I will show you through the logs, we will see what's going on. So far in the logs, you can see it is launching the instance. It is launching the instance with the base, which is the source AMI. So now we can see here it is installing the Apache, which is I mentioned into the provisioner. It is installing the Apache. Yes, guys. So now the AMI has been created. So it installed the Apache, and we can see that stop the instance here, create the AMI, and terminate the instance. So we will verify it into the AWS account. So I just go to the AWS account here, just click on the AMI part. Yes, so AMI is created. If I refresh it, it is just the AMI created. So what I will do in order to show you that whether the whatever Apache is installed on this source image, yes or no. So I will just launch the AMI. So I click it on launch instance. I just enter here the details. Packer build verify. Just you can give any name. So just launch this. The name of the AMI is build your own Ubuntu image, which we have created. So this is the details and just the key pair. So I just select the key pair which I have already created, which is a test image and security group. So I will, so there is default security. I will create a new security group. So in this to access the HTTP, because I don't need to log into the instance. So I just want to show you whether the Apache is installed. So I just select the HTTP and everything is done. It will launch. Just press launch instance. And so guys, now the instance is running. So I will just click on the instance ID and I will copy this public DNS. And if I run here in the browser, it will show me that welcome to the DevOps Consultancy and Solutions. Yeah. So now it is running fine. So now you can see that we use the AWS source AMI and install the Apache on it. Similarly, you can use multiple provisioners in your script. You can install all the whatever the required plugins according to your AMI, according to your project, according to your AMI, and you can create your own golden AMI. Right. So in the third example, I will show you how to use the variables in your script and how you can parameterize your script. So this is the third example which is I have created. So again in this block there is the packer block which is the used to download or the required plugins. Then the source block is there in the down and the build block. So in the build block same, I'm using the Apache installation, and here in the variable I will mention here, this is an example to show how to use variables in a car build. Right. So basically there are two types of variables in the Packer. One is the normal input variables and other is the local variables. Input variables are those variables which we can pass the value from by the command line, or we can use the variable file to to pass the variable. So in the next example I will show you how to use the variable file, but in this example I will show you how the variables we are using in the same packer.scl file. So, and the second type of variable is the local variables that cannot be modified, that we can't change or they pass the value from as an input. So these are the variables which we define into the script, and these can remain static or the constant as according to the script. So here I'm using both the variables. One is the input variable. So I define the one variable as a region. So its type will be string, and default value I can give EU-west VM. So I can give a default value or I cannot give a default value. So best way is to give a default value if someone is executing the script and it forget to provide the region name. So instead of it will fail, so it will use the default value and build the AMI in that particular region. But if I comment it out, I can comment it out like this, and I can now even earlier also, if I pass the variable region, so the new region it will be picked up. or even I can use the default and pass the variable as an input. So it will override the default value and spin up the new instance and create the AMI from it into a separate region. So other variable is the instance type. So that is again I'm using the default and the T4 g.nano, and the third variable which I'm using is the local, and I am defining here the timestamp. So I'm using getting the timestamp when this AMI will be created, which I'm using further into the name of the AMI. So I'm just created here, build your own Ubuntu image hyphen this local dot timestamp variable. So instance type, as I mentioned, define here this variable. This is an instance type variable. So I'm using it as a var dot instance type, and the region is again var dot region variable. So this is the changes I have made into the script, and these are the variables that I've defined. So next step is how to run. So as I said, so this example, this script will demonstrate how to effectively use the variables within a Packer build file and provide a practical example to simplify and customize your image building process. It will it is really it highlights the flexibility and efficiency gained by parameterized value and make your script more maintainable and adaptable to different environments. So which is that is the main objective of the variables. So in run this command, to create the image, I'm just first step is to initialize the script. Yeah. So next is packer validate variable dot packer, right? And third is packer build. So here is the catch. If I want to pass the, let's say if I'm just giving AWS hyphen Ubuntu hyphen Apache hyphen variable dot packer.sl, if I run this build command, then it will use all these default values and create the image on the EU-West1 region, and the instance type will be T4G.nano. But if I want to use the variable as an input variable, so for that I can use .var, and I can define the region equals EU-West-2, and then variable dot packer. So in this example, I will show you it will use the one variable as a default value, which is the instance type. This is the default value it will use, and for the second variable, it will override the default value with the input value. So it will run create the AMI into EU-West.2 region. So I just verify again the region name. So here is the region. Yeah, London is EU-West.West-2. So I just run this command. Yeah, it will start provisioning the instance and install the Apache on top of it. So it will take a couple of minutes to run it. Yeah, so okay guys, now the AMI has been created. It finished up in 4 minutes. So now we will see the AMI. So it in the logs you can see the AMI has been created in EU-West.2 region. So I will just we will go to the region. So if we go here in the AMI, which is the same EU-West dot West, sorry, EU-West-1 region. So if I go here, there is no new AMI. So I will go to the West 2 region. So now we are in the West 2 region. So if I expand it, I can show you the, yeah, this is the name of the AMI which we use, and this is the local timestamp that I mentioned here. And because this is the variable input variable that we passed in the command line, which is a EU-West, and the instance type. So if I go to the AMI, so to start the instance, it used the T4G nano, so which will be in the terminate state. You can see that. So this is the T4. So in this example, you have seen you will learn that we can use the input variables as the default values in the script and also pass the input as a input parameter. So I just go to the AMI again. I will launch the instance to show you that the Apache is installed, and this is the Apache which we mentioned, and this is the example of the variables. Name packer underscore. Yeah, you can give any name. So this is the image that we are using. So T2 nano. So this is the key pair that I've created early. So security group, just use the SSH and the HTTP. So launch the instance. So now the instance is launched. So I just click on the instance. I will copy the public DNS in the browser. Yeah. So here you can see I execute this and it is showing welcome to the DevOps Consultancy and Solution. This is an example to show you how to use the variable in the Packer. So this is the new AMI which we have created. So now I will show you the last example, fourth one, which is basically how to use these variables inside the variable file. Instead of creating your instead of passing the variables, sometimes the variables have a sensitive information, or we need to club all the variables in a one file. There are a lot of variables in a packer file, but we want to club in a file instead of passing each and every variable as the input. So we use the variable file. So this is the file, and in order to create the variable files, you can give it any name dot, but its extension should be dot pkr vars pkr variables like vrs dot scl. So in this file, and this is the variable file. So again, this is the our packer build file. It has a required plugin, it has a variables, both input and the local variables. So I defined the same image. So I have defined in this example, I have mentioned another variable which is the packer package name. So I didn't define any type, or I didn't define any default value. So I just gave the variable name and the region. I remove the default value from it. So for your better understanding, so you can see. So there is another variable. Third one is the instance type, the same like the previous example, and the local variable. So package name I'm using in this, like build your own Ubuntu hyphen Apache image, and then the variable, again the instance type and the region. In default, in if we go down in the variables, sorry, in the provisioner section here, yeah, I have mentioned this is example, testing example for variable file, and the very package name that I defined as a variable, I'm using that as a package name here to install the var.package, and here okay. So this is the file build file that I modified, and here is the variable file. So in the variable file, it's a very simple, just like key value pair. So you have defined the key, which is a region. Again, we equal to double quotes, the name of the region that we are defining here, and the package that I want to install Apache to. So that's the package name I just mentioned. Yeah, in order to run, execute this, the same commands that we need to run, which is the packer initialize first. So I just initialize the packer command in AWS Ubuntu hyphen Apache 2 variable hyphen file dot pkr dot scl file. So it is initialized, then packer validate AWS Apache variable file example. So it give me an error, unset variable region. Yeah, the reason it give me this error because I didn't, it is saying that in this file build file, it is not set, or its default value is not set. You come out of this packer validate -var file equals double quote, we can say AWS hyphen Ubuntu. So I just gave the file name, which it as a variable file name, so it can validate it. So AWS Apache variable file dot packer dot scl. Now it validated perfectly without any error. So run again to run this packer build. So just copy this. So I have to pass the variable file which contains all the input variables or the default variables value, and then run the build file. Again, it will take couple of minutes to run it. So meanwhile, I will pause the video and come back once it is finished. Yeah, so guys, now the AMI has been created, the new AMI. So we will just go to the AWS instance and check, because I'm back to the EU-West 1 region. This is, and I will just click here. So I will launch the instance quickly for verification. I just give the name packer underscore build underscore verify underscore var file variable file. So it is the variable which it is created, and I will use the existing key value pair which I already have, and in the HTTP I will launch the HTTP, select and launch the instance. Instance is, so now the instance is running. So I will just click on the instance ID to get the public DNS. So I just copy the public DNS here. Yeah. So it will show me welcome to DevOps Consultancy and Solution testing example with variable file. So I covered all the major scenarios where we just create the base source AMI to understand how the packer will run. Then we add the provisioners to understand how the provisioner will run, and then create the variables by passing the input variables by the command line or the variable file. Hope you guys learned, and I believe this session will be very useful to you. And in the next session, in the next video, I will show you how to create the Windows image on the AWS. It's a little bit a tricky one, but it will be very useful and helpful for you. So please stay tuned and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.